Marzullo with a 1995 Lotus, a Carl Benz Award.
Hey, I'm out here with Vintage Motorsports. And
the story starts with my great-grandfather, Walter Elmar the First. He was Buick's first chief engineer, 1903 to 1918.
This is our 1918 Packard Twin Six. The body was built by a gentleman called Roubaix.
What you're looking at is a 1920 Packard Twin Six 7-passenger touring car.
Hi, so the story starts with my great-grandfather, Walter Elmar the First. He was Buick's first chief engineer, 1903 to 1918. This car is a 1915 Twin Six prototype. They didn't have the word V12 yet. Two of these were built, one for Walter Elmar and one for Walter Chrysler, then Buick president. No one knows what happened to that one. It probably went back to the Buick experimental department and was disassembled. It's a 60-degree V12 overhead valve. I believe the reason he designed it and built it was because of the 15 Packard going into production in 15, so this was a prototype. It was never produced. World War I hit soon after that. This car would have come with a big 55 horsepower 6-cylinder engine, which was a great torquey engine. They built over 9,000 of the D55 7-passenger touring cars in 16. This car has been handled down generation to generation. About 12 years ago, we started on a restoration project and figured it deserved all out, so it was completely disassembled. I did about 50% of the work myself on it. It's been a long, slow ride, so here we are. Finally got the last details done, and enjoying getting the public to see it and learning about my great-grandfather.
Can you point out some features of the car?
It's got 37-inch wheels. It's a 7-passenger touring car, so it has retractable jump seats. It's hard for me to close it in this position. Jump seats, you got the footrest, and very luxurious car for the day. They also made a 5-passenger 45 horsepower engine that year, which they sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 vehicles. So production was skyrocketing year after year. It was doubling. The car would originally have been painted with a varnished clear coat on the green. Everything in black would have been dipped in big vats of black paint and hung to dry. The problem with starting to produce this many cars was they had warehouse space all over Flint, Michigan. These cars were just curing, so it was a slow process. So.
And then the interior?
On the steering wheel is still left over from the crank start days is the ignition timing, so you could retard it for starting, and then there's a throttle, assuming you're starting the car from the front of the car. The ignition system, including the switch, which says Packard Delco, I believe he called his friend Charles Kettering and said, send me over a distributor and an ignition system, because the distributor is identical to that of the production Packard. It's a 3-speed sliding gear transmission, normal clutch, brake, throttle. There's a vacuum pump on the dashboard also, and there's a vacuum tank on the firewall that uses engine vacuum to draw fuel into a big float and then feed it to the carburetor.
And then
it has exhaust cutouts in it, which would have been in the standard car also, but there would have only been one for the 6-cylinder. It's pretty handy in this car because you can listen to the 2 banks separately and make sure they're firing correctly. All Buicks of the day did not have any valve covers until the early 20s. And all Buicks, all his cars were always overhead valve from the very beginning. They put valve covers on them in about 1923, I believe. There's no oil pressure in the top of the engine. The Rockers are just fed by these cups which have a wick in them. And there's also little felt pads on the ends of the push rods that you oil. It is a full pressure oiling system, which was advanced for the day. The standard car would have had a splash system. Separate starter generator was advanced for the day. Most cars would have had a single starter generator. It has a clutch pack in it, a multi-disc clutch, as opposed to a leather cone clutch in the production cars. The engine's about 384 cubic inch.
Okay.
This is a water pump here, an impeller for each side, driven off the generator. Starter generator, distributor tower, vacuum tank. There is still a hand crank for the front, and I have used it. You got to have it right in the right spot and give it a good tug, and it will fire that way.
Separate ignitions on each side, or?
Separate distributor caps, separate points. Yep. Sure.
For an old car, it
There you
doesn't
go.
sound bad, does it?
There you go. There you go. That was perfect. There we go. There we go.
Engineering job.
Live from USClassicMuscleCars.